Okay, let's forget about all the flashy design trends for a minute. Today, we're going deep. We're talking about the invisible blueprint that can make the difference between a website that generates real revenue and one that's just a digital dead end. I'm talking about information architecture. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll know how to build one that actually drives business results.
You know the feeling, right? Of course you do. We've all been there. That frustration, that sense of being totally stuck. Well, that's not just a bad user experience, it's a massive business problem. And it's the direct result of a broken, or even worse, a non-existent information architecture. It's a failure of that invisible blueprint that was supposed to guide you.
So what is this thing? Information architecture, or IA? Well, at its core, it's really the art and science of organizing stuff so people can find what they need without even having to think about it. You know, good IA is invisible. You only notice it when it's bad. And hey, this is not a new concept. Just think about the librarians in the ancient Library of Alexandria. They were the original information architects, figuring out how to make a world of knowledge findable. The principles are exactly the same, it's just the medium that's changed.
All right, so let's dive into our first section, the invisible architecture. This is all about that unseen framework, the logic hiding behind the layout, that ultimately decides whether a user gets what they need or just gives up and leaves your site forever.
I absolutely love this quote from Michael Gearin because it just cuts right to the heart of it. Idea isn't about making things look pretty. It's about creating clarity. It's a strategic problem-solving process that literally guides a user from a state of what is going on here to, I get it.
Now, these principles from an IA expert named Dan Brown, they're basically the bedrock of any solid structure. Think of them as the fundamental rules of the road. Take the principle of choices, for example. This is precisely why Amazon's homepage doesn't just throw every single product at you at once. You'd be completely paralyzed. Or the principle of front doors, which is so critical today. In the age of Google, any page on your site, a product page, a blog post, can be a user's very first impression. You have to design every single page as if it's the front door.
And this is the crucial connection that every single designer, product manager, and business leader needs to master. IA isn't just some abstract user experience thing. It's a direct driver of business ROI. Seriously, understanding this is how you get your projects funded, how you get a seat at the table. Let's break down exactly how that works.
So here's the bottom line. Every single bit of user frustration has a direct cost to the business. When a user can't find what they're looking for, that's a lost sale. It's a missed lead. It's an expensive support ticket that someone has to answer. But on the flip side, when you give the user clarity, when they can complete their tasks seamlessly, you get higher conversions, more engagement, and a real, tangible competitive advantage for the business. They're two sides of the very same coin.
Let's put a real number on this to make it concrete. Imagine you could prove that a new company intranet design, just the IA, reduces the time employees spend searching for information by 30%. You could literally walk into your CFO's office with a direct calculation of productivity savings. For a big company, we're not talking about a nice-to-have. We're talking about millions of dollars in saved operational costs. That is the hard ROI of information architecture.
So how do we actually get there? Well, it's not through guesswork, that's for sure. You need a data-driven methodology. So let's get into the strategic intelligence approach and see how to build a real foundation for success.
Look, you've really got two paths you can take here. The wrong way? Well, it's easy. You just copy your competitor's navigation, or you build a website around your internal company departments. It's fast, it's cheap, and it almost always fails. The right way, the strategic way, is to build your entire IA from real-world data. It's about listening to how your customers actually talk, understanding their real needs, and finding out what truly works.
This right here, this is the playbook that top companies use. It's not about guessing, it's about intelligence gathering. Yeah, you start internally to get the business goals straight, but then you move to the real gold mine, listening to sales call transcripts, lurking on Reddit and social media forums. This is where your customers are telling you, in their own unfiltered words, what they need and where they're getting stuck. You then blend all that qualitative insight with hard data from your analytics, and that is how you create a winning IA blueprint. Okay, so we've got the playbook for success. But you know, it's just as important to know what not to do. So let's quickly cover the three most common and most costly blunders I see teams make over and over again. Honestly, just avoiding these is half the battle. First up, and this is a big one, using internal jargon. Look, your company might call its product an enterprise intelligence solution, but your customers, they're out there searching for business analytics software.
If your website navigation doesn't speak their language, they are never, ever going to find you. It really is that simple.
Next, please never, ever design your navigation to mirror your company's org chart. Your customers do not care about your internal structure. They don't care about your departments. They have a problem that they desperately need to solve, and your website's only job is to show them the solution as quickly and easily as possible.
And finally, the most dangerous blunder of all, the hippo. That's the highest paid person's opinion. Anytime you hear someone say, well, I think users will love this, without a shred of data to back it up, a massive red flag should go up in your mind. In a truly strategic process, real user data always, and I mean always, wins the argument. End of story.
Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. But what about tomorrow? I mean, this stuff is always changing. So let's wrap this up by looking at how you can future-proof your information architecture.
So looking ahead, IA is getting way more dynamic, and it's moving beyond just the screen. AI is going to create personalized navigation. Think of it like a Netflix for websites that adapts to each person. And with the rise of voice assistants, we have to design for zero UI, interfaces without any screens at all. That means structuring information for spoken conversations, not just clicks. And underpinning all of this is a non-negotiable commitment to accessibility, making sure these structures work for absolutely everyone.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a really hard look at your company's digital presence. Is its blueprint built on old habits and internal assumptions? Or is it a strategic, data-driven framework that's actually ready to meet the needs of tomorrow's users? Because the answer to that question, well, that could define your success